With Pokemon Sword and Shield's Isle of Armor expansion being released a few months back, we were given new Gigantamax forms, and it made me think I should do a ranking of all Gigantamax forms seen. This would be a long video, and for your sanity, I'm splitting this video into 2 parts. With that, NintendoExtremists here, and in today's part 1, as already insinuated, I'll be ranking the first 16 Gigantamax forms. Just a quick mention, in general I do appreciate what Game Freak tried to give us, a more fair mechanic instead of the OP Mega Evolution in Gen 6, but I also for the most part like the designs, but there are some trash ones, and I'm not even talking about Garbador trash, even trasher.
Matt, you're so funny, just get on with the fucking video already.
Also, I will not be including Eternatus's Eternamax, as I really don't like this form, and technically it isn't classed as a Gigantamax form, so yeah, he is the only Pokemon that will be disincluded from this list. Here we have a Pokemon who, first of all, in my opinion, is one of the most forgettable Galar Pokemon. It's Hatton. And to pack this up, I forgot she even existed until making this video. Also, Hatton's G-Max doesn't make up for it either. Instead of giving it to a more cooler Sword and Shield Pokemon, they give it a Hatton. And may I say, it's a bad design that barely any changes made. And the sad truth is that this seems to be common for a lot of G-Max forms, as you'll see. But this is probably the worst in my opinion. It's almost as if they just Control Shift and scaled up Hatton. This is a bad Gigantamax, and yes, I know these forms aren't meant to change too much, but they are still meant to have obvious changes, and this G-Max just doesn't do it for me. So that's why she's been placed bottom of this list. Alright, what's there to say about Gigantamax Meow? I don't like it, it just looks stupid, and yes, I know its origin comes from the long cat meme. But that's the only thing it has going for it. Except you can make in-game money from this guy when he uses his G-Max move Gold Rush. Apart from that, quite frankly, it's cool that I got him for pre-ordering Sword and Shield, but it's one of the weakest designs I've seen for a G-Max. More elaborate, I'll give you that, but yeah, he isn't going any higher in this list. Corviknight getting a Gigantamax form does sound good, but reality is they give us this, although it does look cooler than normal Corviknight. It's as if they just decided to add some LEDs to Corviknight's wings and call it a day. I don't have a strong opinion on this guy. All I can say is he could have been designed better than he was, and that's pretty much it for me. On to the next one. Copperjar, if that's how you pronounce him. Its base design is alright, but its Gigantamax form is dreadful. I do not like the blocky triangular nature to it. It makes it look odd, and it doesn't look like a Pokemon. It's definitely one of my least favourites, and it doesn't settle right with me. And if you look at its back, it's even more blocky. It honestly looks like a character modelling gone wrong. And for that alone, it's earned itself a low spot on this ranking. Alright, I can't really hate on this Gigantamax form. I love Eevee. After all, she's the reason we have all the Eeveelutions, and they are some of the coolest Pokemon. But she also faced a common problem of basically being a scaled up Eevee, and it sucks. This Pokemon deserves more respect. However, on the other hand, they did manage to make her even more adorable. I wanted to place her higher on this ranking, but she can't compete against some of the others on this list. Also, if you manage to get a shiny G-Max Eevee, then she looks really dope in battle. The mascot himself got his very own Gigantamax form, and needless to say I generally do like it. This is one of those cases where it didn't need too much done. Getting his design based off retro fat chubby Pikachu is one that they pulled off well. Pokemon anime was a big part of my childhood, so I can appreciate this even more. And overall this design was well thought out in my opinion. And I'm biased as I got him before Eevee because I own Let's Go Pikachu and he was one of the first Pokemon on my roster. Okay, so here we have a Gigantamax form which isn't like the rest. It's a shared form between 2 different Pokemon, Appleton and Flapple. Yeah, they both come from Appleton, but this Gigantamax form, to me, feels more aimed towards Appleton, and it would have been a lot better if each Pokemon got separate Gigantamax forms. But overall, I like this design. It's bizarre and suits these Pokemon well. It's one of the most stronger G-Maxes and deserves its spot on this list. When I first saw Gigantamax Butterfury, I thought what they did with the design was just a cop-out. But since then it's growing on me, and now I'm quite fond of it. The gigantic wings was necessary. It obviously made sense to make Butterfury bigger, give its wings a larger wingspan. It reminds me of Mothra, which is cool. This Gigantamax form made this Kanto Pokemon great to me, and it's great to see this Pokemon getting some attention. I'd want to see this Gigantamax form to inspire an evolution of Butterfury. It's just me, but this design could be implemented into a possible evolution. Okay, so I saw this Pokemon getting a lot of shade thrown at it for its Gigantamax, and personally I quite like it. I've never had a hatred or a disliking for Garbador. Yeah, The whole idea of him being living trash is exotic, but at least it's original. So with its G-Max form, it seems this Pokemon has gotten so big it could devour a city. We see toy planes and boats with the odd Lego built building stuck inside of its trash body. And to me, it's what I expected it to be. What else can you do with trash? Really, it corresponds to the gigantic heaps of trash seen all over the world. I think it brings real world problems to light, and it makes me like this Gigantamax form. Okay, so Gigantamax Snorlax is amazing in my opinion. I love the fact that he's been such a nuisance blocking players' paths on previous titles, that now he has become the path. This Gigantamax is a great callback. With that to the side, there isn't too much to say. This design is like the G-Max Pikachu, with it primarily just being a cool Easter egg to other Pokemon titles before this. But hey, end of the day, if you don't like this Gigantamax, good luck trying to find a big enough Pokeflute to move this gigantic beast. Grimmsnarl's evolutionary line started mixed reactions amongst fans, as some like it and some hate it. But Grimmsnarl is without the doubt the best out of the three, and its Gigantamax form, although not being too significantly different from normal Grimmsnarl, is still an even better upgrade. His Gigantamax form is basically a Super Saiyan Grimmsnarl, increasing in size and getting the more manly physique. I personally love the Gigantamax, and it holds up compared to others. He looks as if he's going to be the big bad villain in the anime. Illcream A as a Pokemon was, and is still one of my least favourite Galar Pokemon. The only thing it has going for it is it has 70 different forms. Well, I believe it's 70. But its Gigantamax form has to be given a lot of respect. The wedding cake tiered theme is perfect, and honestly there's something about this Gigantamax that I love. I love that each tier of the cake has symbols of Illcream's other variants sprinkled onto them. This is a food Pokemon done right, and I really wish this was Illcream's evolution. Like Butterfury, if they scaled down this Gigantamax form it would be perfect for a final evolution. Okay, so I get you might be annoyed to see the Kanto starter in this part 1, but I feel this design is so basic and mediocre. Venusaur's Gigantamax is definitely the worst seen out of any of the static Gigantamaxes. Giant plants growing from your back is such an overdone format in Pokemon, and it's a shame the same rules apply here. Except for Torterra, I love that guy. But I understand that's the signature feature of Venusaur, but him looking like a giant mushroom was not the way to go. Here's a picture of a fan concept I think would be a lot cooler. And yes, I know it's still using the generic tree format, but it works better than what we actually got. This design is such a cop-out, but I still do appreciate it, so it won't go any higher or lower on this list. I love Venusaur, but not his Gigantamax. Cundra was also one of those overlooked Sword and Shield Pokemon, but I personally love his design. Although it should have been a normal type in my opinion, as it looks like the average snake. What we got in his Gigantamax form definitely made up for it. It looks so much like a ground type. This sandstorm theme works well. Only complaint is that the design looks like a tornado rather than a sandstorm. But that's really it. It reminds me of Beyblades, and Beyblades were a big part of my childhood. And for Gigantamax Cundra to make me reminisce on that, it gets a pass from me. It's a really love-hate design, and I think it works wonders.
Alrighty, well, it turns out I didn't actually write a script for number 15, so I'm just going to let you decide what goes there and comment what you think should go there. Alright, this is a perfect time to plug in our social medias, so if you haven't already, our social medias will be on screen now. Make sure to go follow them, because then you can be noted even faster when videos get uploaded, because we normally post on there. Yeah, so I just missed out a whole bloody Pokemon.
Okay, so I love Gigantamax Duraludon, but it was hard to choose if he should make it onto the top 16 or not. But he places here because his design isn't too complex, and compared to the top 16 roster is a little bit downplayed. I love the fact he becomes a building. It'd be cooler to see more similarities to Rose Tower. Apart from that, this design, for what it is pretty solid, and definitely deserves to take the place as number 16. So guys, that's all I have time for in today's video, and you may not agree with me on my choices, but I have a very select Pokemon taste. And if it means one of the designs you like placed lower on this list, then I'm sorry. But I hope with that you still happen to enjoy the video, and were able to agree with some of my choices. Remember to stay tuned for a part 2 by turning on post notifications. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. This channel puts out 2 videos a week, and I wouldn't want you to miss out. We hit 80 subscribers the other day, and for that me and Tom want to say a big thank you. I've been your host Matt, and I'm signing out.